Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Took a week off last week for the holiday. Tyrina is back with me, though. So, it's our monthly feature kind of talking about all things hiring, recruiting, job searching. We're giving you some pointers and disclaimer here. These aren't 100% guaranteed to work for you. So, if you try what we tell you to do and it doesn't work, then I apologize. But these are just things that have worked for us in the past. So, might
That's
work
right.
for you. Feel free to adapt as needed. So, this week, Tyrina and I are going to be talking about the LinkedIn profile and how you can optimize that both as a job seeker and on the talent acquisition side. I'll try to give some insight as well, because some of these things go hand in hand in terms of messaging, creating your profile, posting, all of that good stuff. So, if you are in talent acquisition, you probably don't need a ton of information on the first topic that we're going to cover with this. So, I'm going to pass more to Tyrina here, and it's going to be focusing on getting started. You're at the overwhelming process of setting up your LinkedIn profile. So, when people are kind of coming to you with that question and it's a blank canvas, what are some of the initial things that you try to encourage them to do? What are some of the ABCs? This is what you have to have on your LinkedIn profile, not just to get noticed, but to kind of start putting yourself out there, get started on networking. What do you need to have to make that a little bit more of a smooth process?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, of course, the given is, a nice profile picture. If it could be a professional picture, or just a nice picture that you take with your phone. Of course, the banner, because that's like the first thing that people see. And depending on your industry, would determine what kind of, banner that you should have. Of course, it should be professional. But the main part of LinkedIn optimization is the about section or the summary. And I feel the best way to set that up is getting it directly from your resume. If you have your resume updated and you have like a career summary section, which we stand by here at T Lasser Services, it's a part of our processes, regardless of what level you are. We always, include a career summary. You can pull from that career summary and personalize it a little bit more than what it is on the resume. You don't have to have it exactly how it is on the resume, but it's okay if you do as well. I tell people, don't make LinkedIn so complicated.
Mhm.
Don't overthink it. Get a profile together, have a professional like a career coach or even a recruiter look at it just to get their first take on it, and make some updates. But your updated resume is your best friend when it comes to that section and the experience section. And when it comes to networking, it you definitely have to have a goal. You have to have a strategy. And for beginners, I just tell people, hey, connect with people that are in the field that you're in.
Yeah.
Use that search. If you're in project management, if you're a transitioning educator and you're trying to get into learning and development, if you put those titles in and put people, you will, filter it for people at the top, you will find those people. And then feed off of them, see what they're doing on their profile, connect with them. And we are going to get into, personalizing messages to connect with them a little later. But those would be my first steps. If you don't have an updated resume, I suggest you get one, from T Services, or, click on my profile and sign up for a free consultation just so we can take a look at it and give you some pointers. But starting from LinkedIn from scratch and not having an updated resume, it may make it a little bit more complicated because it makes the process a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you encourage them to have their resume as part of their profile as well? I know some people can link it directly on there. Is that something that you usually encourage to do? And with
Yeah.
that, the contact information, you can share as much as little as you want on LinkedIn. So, what is typically your guidance there with sharing all of that info?
Yeah. I mean, everyone has their own preference as far as like how much information they want to share. If you are okay with sharing your contact information with how your LinkedIn is set up, I would definitely add your resume there. It's easy access for recruiters to just download it and look at it. You can also post it and just put it in your featured section. I talked a lot about that in my training for LinkedIn networking. But there is a way that you can add a featured section and you can just feature your resume in that section. But I definitely encourage people to share information that they feel that would make them stand out to recruiters. And that is your resume. You can put your contact information in your bio as well, like when you're, setting up your LinkedIn. You can also utilize the privacy settings. So you can put all of your information on your LinkedIn, and then you can set up your privacy settings for only some people to see it. Like if you only want people that you are connected to see your information, you do that. You can, there's different settings that you can update in your LinkedIn when you're setting it up.
Yeah, absolutely. So you talked about the profile picture. I'm one of those ones that does not have a professional one. It is me standing in front of the Liberty Bell. And I just, at this point, just haven't changed it because it's been 6 years now. So why bother? But a little bit more of the picture itself goes with the banner or the profile frame around your picture. And I know it shouldn't be. It is a polarizing topic in terms of should I put open to work on that profile picture. So I know for me, as someone in talent acquisition, someone who is hiring, that I do look for that specifically. And there are search tools that we use in LinkedIn Recruiter that will highlight if people have either that option clicked on their profile page or actually have the frame. So what is usually your mindset when it comes to giving directives on that? Because I know some people are still hesitant. They've gotten some different advice from different people on it makes you look desperate. I don't think so, but personally, what is your approach to that? Because it is something that typically comes up in terms of should I put this up or not?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely goes back to what you're comfortable with. I encourage it because, I mean, you're a recruiter and you basically said, I don't think it looks desperate.
Mhm.
You are open for work.
Right.
But I have heard, people say, well, I don't want my current employer to
Right.
know that I'm open for work.
Sure.
And again, it goes back to those privacy settings. You can set up your profile for certain people to see your banner.
Mhm.
I would definitely Google some, tutorials, YouTube, they are your friend, or, you can shoot me a message. I can walk you through it. But I feel it's important, just as I say, when updating your resume, to be intentional about your career goals. And every hesitation to do certain things and not do certain things on LinkedIn is very understandable,
Cool.
but you also have to do what you're comfortable with. But any of my clients, I encourage them to put open for work, and I walk them through, how to set up their profile so their current employer, doesn't see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the talent acquisition hiring side of things, if you put the hiring frame around yours, that allows you to then link positions that you're actually hiring for. And we are going to talk about messages next. But the nice thing about that is it can cut down on the amount of messages that you get that you can't really do anything with. Here's my resume. What do you have that's going to fit what I'm looking for? If you actually have the positions on your page, that sometimes cuts down on the amount of messages you'll receive, because inboxes get flooded, candidates and recruiters
Yes.
alike. So trying to cut down on some of the messages that you really can't do much with is going to be key there. So
Yeah, I agree. And going back to that general message, here's my resume. What positions do you have? That's a great way to not get a response.
right.
I would not suggest that any job seeker says that in a message.
Yeah.
You want everything to be genuine and intentional again. So, we're getting into messages next.
Yeah.
So, I definitely want to dive into that.
Yeah, definitely. And so just to start off, I'll say this, because if you are taking the time to message me, I will pretty much respond whether I can help you out or not. If it's a position that I am not hiring for, but it's with my company, I'll point you in the right direction. If it's just completely different than what I do, I'll just to let you know that. So typically the only messages I won't respond to are just the ones that say, hi, how are you? Or something like that. It's more
Mhm.
so being driven and having a purpose behind the message is going to be key, which
Right.
going to allow you to speak to, because you do that on the candidate end a lot more so than I do, but I'll approach it from the hiring end as well.
Mhm. Yeah, that's important. And I like the you basically said, like, sometimes you need to just cut to the chase.
Mhm.
We don't need to have small talk with certain things. But I do feel with making genuine connections with like other people, it is important to, send a connection request with a little note.
Sure.
And even being intentional with that, saying, I would like to connect with you. I see you're in the project management industry. I'm trying to transition into that as well. I would love to connect and pick your brain, you know. So just saying something like that really, really helps.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're sending me a message that's more so on the networking side of things, then that's going to be appreciated as well. So let's dive into the initial message, because I do encourage people that ask me, should I send a follow-up message? I've applied to this position. My answer is always yes. Over communicating. I mean, don't flood the inbox and send them a message
Right.
every day.
Yeah.
But if you're going to just follow up after you applied, it's been a day or two, you want to stay fresh in the hiring manager, the recruiter's mind. I'm certainly all for that. And I appreciate that nudge on my end from time to time as well. So for you, when you're giving that guidance, what are some of the things that you try to coach to when it comes to crafting that initial follow-up message, whether it's an introduction after they've applied, just a general introduction, they haven't applied yet, but they want more information? How do you approach those situations?
Yeah, I mean, always, just introduce yourself, say your name, and say that you apply to such and such position, that you're very interested. And I always like to have like a call to action at the end of the message, especially when it comes to reaching out to hiring managers or recruiters, and just say, what is the best way for me to send you my resume? Would you like me to put it here? Or do you have an email, for me to send it to?
Mhm.
Because you still have to approach it in a way that's appropriate. Be forward, be intentional, but be professional at the
Mhm.
same time. So you want to respect the recruiter's time. You want to respect that they have other messages that they have to get to before yours, but you also want to respect how they would like to receive your information. Do not flood hiring managers with resumes and cover letters and presentations, and like if you have a portfolio, gradually communicate that information. And I know you can attest to that, because it can be very overwhelming when you give too much information up front.
Right.
Like, eh, yes, I'm hiring for this position, but give me some time.
Mhm.
Let me, figure out what I need from you, which of course is usually the resume first. But as the conversation goes, you can say, I really think that I'm a great candidate for this position. Would it be okay for me to send you my portfolio? Especially if it's like a learning and development position, or any like a instructional design, any positions where you should have a portfolio. If it's not connected to your resume, not linked to your resume, which I also suggest, because they'll see it when they open up the resume. But if there's other, presentations that may not be on your portfolio that matches with, the job description a little bit more, then you can, send that along. But let it be gradual, let it be genuine, let it be easygoing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you and I have talked about cover letters on this show in the past, and one of the things we said to try to avoid was the clear template of hello, insert hiring manager name. You can see from my experience with insert company name that I like
Right.
it. And I've been seeing a lot more messages like that through LinkedIn as well, from people who are expressing interest in positions that I have posted. So to kind of add to the insight that you gave, one thing I will say is make sure that you're following the process of the application as well. So I will get these messages, and typically the first thing that I do is go to see if whoever's messaging me has applied for the position first. And if they have
Mm.
not, I will then send the link and say, please send your application in so I can have all the information in front of me. Because typically they're not sending a resume, which, like you said, you should probably not do on the first message anyway, just kind of
Right.
what the comfort level is. So I would say if you're following the process overall, that's going to make the steps in the process run a little bit more smoothly for you as well. If the hiring manager, recruiter can see that you've done some research into what the position entails, you've probably visited the company website if you've applied to the position, so you know some more details as well. That's always going to be key.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great insight and information. A lot of people don't realize that even when you hit the easy apply button, there's a process.
Mhm.
And hearing it directly from you and confirming, what I tell my clients is it feels really good because I'm leading them in the right
Yeah.
direction.
And I mean I'm in hiring, so I get it. The templates make life a lot easier, and it's not like I've never sent any template in my life as well. I've certainly sent
Right.
a share too. So just make sure you're being a little bit more crafted with your messaging there, and
Yes.
not just dear hiring manager. If you know the actual hiring manager, feel free to use that information.
Yes,
Make sure
absolutely.
that you have the right company, the right job title,
Yeah.
messages that you're sending. If you
Yeah.
are using the template, it's totally fine. Just make sure that you're on top of that, because that's an easy way to just kind of discredit all the effort you've already put in. Is if you just send the wrong message and they see a different job title, then that kind of knocks it down a peg. So be pointed with your application process for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Triple check everything. Messages, cover letters, everything before you submit because first impressions are everything.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. So now jumping back to the actual profile, and LinkedIn allows you to put your work history there, which is nice because sometimes when I get a resume and they just have their last two companies that they work for, that's totally fine. I get wanting to keep your resume brief. So I will visit a LinkedIn page just to get more information. Or if I'm not sure what the company you worked for does, making sure that it aligns as well, which is a nice feature to get to
mhm.
click on the link for LinkedIn and kind of see what the company does. But to build off of that, when you're putting your job history on there, you can put, dates worked, job title, company name. Do you typically encourage them to put down a bit of a breakdown of their responsibilities as well, similar to what they would do on the resume? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you could do it two different ways. We've done it multiple ways for our clients when we're optimizing their LinkedIn for them. You could literally have bullet points, or you can do a paragraph, like the functional. We do functional resumes as well as just traditional bullet points. And with functional resumes, if anyone watching doesn't know what that is, it's basically in paragraph form
Mhm.
instead of in bullet form. So, as long as you have the keywords in the task, which will help you appear at the top of the search, for recruiters and hiring managers that are looking for, people with your skill set, you're fine. You do not have to have it exactly how you have on a resume.
Mhm.
If you have like 5 or 6 bullet points, you don't have to have all of them. You can have like three. Choose three of the top, tasks from each of your positions. But definitely the time frame, of course, location, the normal things, but you can either put it in paragraph form if it's easier, like a couple of sentences, maybe three, or you can have like 3 or 4 bullet points. But as long as you are hitting the target of the main responsibilities of the role, you should be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would mirror that advice in terms of the resume, kind of try to do the same thing. And I had someone reach out to me recently asking if they should put what they did or what their company's responsibilities were on their resume, which I encouraged. And they included a hyperlink to the company website, which I thought was a fantastic thing to
Yeah, I love that. Yeah,
makes my life easier. It's one less step that I have to take. I don't mind doing the extra research in terms of making sure that company experience would align. But if you have all of that right there, using your LinkedIn page and your resume kind of as a mirror of each other is certainly going to be beneficial for you.
absolutely. And resumes are very, very traditional, super top-notch professional. You can get a little jazzy with your LinkedIn profile, especially the about section and then the experience section as well. You can throw more things in there. If you want to highlight something on your LinkedIn that's not on your resume, you could do that as well. So I do love LinkedIn as well. I wanted to add this, that you can go as far back as you want in your job history, as long as it's, you put in a way that's similar to what you're trying to do. Because if you're a teacher, you have to be careful about what you put on your profile. I've had a lot of clients before they've gotten their LinkedIn done. They're like, I only get, recruiters looking to fill teaching positions, and I don't want to do that anymore. And
Mhm.
I look at their profile. I said, well, there's nothing about your profile that says that you're trying to transition into corporate. I don't see that. And that goes your banner, your about section, as well as the experience section.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Be pointed with the job history you're on. Obviously, I don't have kitchen crew at Chuck E. Cheese on my LinkedIn page.
Yes.
Not to knock where I started my career,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, you got to start from somewhere, right?
yeah. So be strategic with that as well. So next steps in terms of what you can add on to your LinkedIn profile is going to be the skills section, because I know that's one that a lot of people struggle with as well, because you can put everything on there if you wanted to, and no one really has the time to look through the 87 skills that you have listed.
Yeah.
You have like Microsoft Word and Outlook at the very top. So, what
Yeah,
is
no.
typically your guidance there in terms of not just listing the skills, but then how to get the endorsements from colleagues, coworkers, connections on the ones that they want highlighted for people who are going to look at their profile?
Yeah, I mean the best rule of thumb is have the skills, the transferable skills into include all of the transferable skills that will lead you into your next role.
Mhm.
If you're not trying to do customer service, don't there should be nothing in your endorsements and skills section that has anything to do with customer service.
Mhm.
But as far as endorsements are concerned for those skills, don't have 80, 85, like you said. Try to pick maybe 10.
Yeah.
Start with that I feel like that's a good solid number. And then it won't be as overwhelming for when you ask for endorsements and people have to click to endorse you for all of those skills. But the best way and strategy of asking for endorsements, of course, you should start out with people that already know you. So if you're connected with colleagues, people that have known you over the years, and they know your skill set, it's always best to get started with them because they already know you. They know what your skill set is. They've worked with you before. So that's a good way of getting some endorsements on your profile to start. As you add connections and connect with people and network, do not send them endorsement requests. They don't know you yet. And I've gotten that from people, even on the business owner side, resume writer side, career strategist side. And I politely respond and say, hey, I'd like to get to know you a little bit before I endorse you, because that information is public,
Mhm.
and if people see that I've endorsed you and they reach out to me and say, hey, I see you endorsed this person for this, so um, depending on how your profile is set up, everyone can't see that. But I definitely feel that you need to have a genuine conversation, a coffee chat or something with a person that you want to get an endorsement from, and it could be a quick 15-minute conversation. You can direct them to the featured section, and if you have things posted like presentations or YouTube links of presentations that you've done or anything, give the person time to get to know you before they submit endorsements for you. I've had people that have endorsed me before as well that didn't know me, and I will say thank you, but I still would like for you to get to know me so the endorsement is honest and genuine. you know so I best rule of thumb, go with who you know first, and then as you make connections and set up coffee chats, you can ask them for endorsements as the conversation goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think this conversation about LinkedIn is probably going to turn into a two-part episode, because I'm sure we have a lot more that we need to discuss right now. We're just kind of scratching the surface. But the last thing I did want to cover today is going to be then You created your profile, you have your job history, you have your about me section, your skills are on there. Now it's time to post. And that's usually kind of the scariest part for a lot of people because it's very different, they feel like, from social media. If you look at my page, I treat it kind of similar. I try to be personal with my posts and have some reasoning behind that, but I understand that a lot of people don't want to share that information on their page as well. So what is typically your advice when it comes to creating those posts? Because everyone is going to be different, not just in terms of the comfort level, but what they want to post, what they're trying to accomplish with the posts that they have in mind. So how do you try to walk them through getting over that hurdle of the initial post so they start feeling comfortable and start to find a brand that they want to build for themselves on LinkedIn?
Yeah. So when you're first starting, of course, if you're open to, for work, there are open for work posts that you can put. And when you're orchestrating that, when you're creating that, it is best to just introduce yourself, say what you are transitioning into or what role you're looking for. And then you can highlight a couple of your transferable skills in the post as well. That's a thing that I see people do at least once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I advise my clients to do that as well. Your strategy does not have to be overwhelming. You can post twice a week. So that open to work post can be one. And then the other thing I say, especially as you're growing your connections, if you see your connections posting about something that you can relate to or that you agree with, just repost. There's two options: repost and repost with your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Repost, you're just reposting it so other people can see it on your feed. And then reposting with your thoughts allows you to share the person's post, and then you can add, your input. That when you first start out, I feel like that's a good way to get on the algorithm for people to see, your information, what you agree with. And then as you start to do that, you'll start to think of content on your own.
Mm-hmm.
The best way to learn a platform is see what similar people are doing in your industry. You can also share like personal career stories. If you're transitioning into learning and development, talk about a point in your career where you had to teach, maybe an adult class or a conversation that you had with someone that highlighted your skill set, and they really got a lot out of the presentation that you presented. Anything. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be a long story, long paragraph. Our generation, we're quick. We like quick information.
Right.
So even if it's easier for you to post a video talking about it, you could do that too. But keywords even in your post helps the algorithm as well for people to see. And even hashtags, you can utilize hashtags with every post. If you talk about project management, you will put the project management hashtag. If you're a transitioning educator, there is a transitioning teacher hashtag that is available.
Absolutely.
So you can start to type things in and you'll see what comes up and say, oh, this hashtag has about 30K people using it, so I'll use it too, to draw people to my post. And there's always this back and forth with how many hashtags you should be using. Do what you want.
Right.
do, what you want. It's endless. I try to stick to maybe like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
But there's really no rules, and there is a character limit, for LinkedIn posts. But just the best way to learn is like trial and error.
Yep.
See what works. If you have to change up your strategy a little, do that.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone is different. You need to have your own style so you can stand out.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't get discouraged because it's not like you making a post on Instagram where you want to get all
Yeah.
in comments.
Yeah, you're not gonna get like 100K
Right.
likes or impressions.
Don't get
Right
discouraged. I
away.
mean, I've put stuff up that has just been crickets. So and it hasn't stopped me
Same.
continuing to post. So make sure.
Same. And people will see it. People see it.
Yeah,
Just because you don't get a lot of likes does not mean that they saw it. Some
right.
people just don't press the like button,
Keep an eye on
but
the
they've seen
impressions.
it.
That's
Yeah, the impressions are a little more important.
yeah, absolutely. Well, Tyrina, before I let you go here, as always, take some time to let people know where they can find you, what you have going on. I know you host some meetings and some series for informational stuff for your clients. So feel free to share what you have on the agenda here and how people can join if they want to.
Absolutely. So first things first, we do free career consultations here at T. Lassiter Services. The link is at the top of my profile. You just fill out a form and you will get on our schedule. If you fill out the form and try to pick something and it's not available for your availability, you can always shoot us a message and we will make accommodations. The next thing is www.tlassiterservices.com, where you can find all of our services that range from resume services of all levels, LinkedIn optimization, and also career coaching and interview coaching. And last but not least, I do have a free training coming up. It's called Resume Revamp. I find that a lot of people need the basics of updating their resume for career transitions. We have an amazing time in our training, in the trainings. We have a lot of fun. It's interactive. And if you have never been to any of my trainings, I am very, very example heavy. Okay. So you will feel a lot more confident and you'll figure out if you're on the right path or not, or if you need, more assistance. But I do free trainings every month. So please connect with me so that you can get those notifications. And I am always open to, answering any questions and direct messaging on LinkedIn as well.
All right, perfect. Well, you will see us again down the road here as we take on another topic that get asked a lot from people looking to make the job search. In the meantime, have a great week ahead and we'll see you soon.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.